Another extremely useful function in Excel is the VLOOKUP function. VLOOKUP stands for value lookup and allows you to look up a value associated with a value in some cell and then use this in some other cell. So here's an example. We have a spreadsheet with some sales information in A1 to D10. Another part of the spreadsheet, E12 to G17, contains information about products, including the unit price for each product. One obvious calculation we might want to perform on A1 to D10 is to calculate the total cost of the order and store this in column D. The best way to do this would be to use the product ID stored in B and look up the unit price in the product information table. And we can then multiply the number of items sold by whatever the unit price for that product is. And VLOOKUP allows us to do so. So I'm going to go into the and then look for VLOOKUP. And as you see, VLOOKUP takes actually 4 arguments. The first argument is the VLOOKUP value and contains the cell in which we look for the original value. The second argument is the table array, that is the table in which we're looking for a matching value. And in the table array, the matching value will always be found in the first column in the table array. So in this case, it would be column 1. The column index number tells us which value, which column to return if the value in the first column matches the lookup value. And then finally, the range lookup is either true or false. If you want an approximate match, then you set the parameter to true. But if you want an exact match, you set the value to false. So rather than, so let's put a VLOOKUP function in here. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to look up P3 and we're going to look in this array, and then we're going to turn whatever is stored in column 3, and we want a series match. So you see that we look P1 up in this formula, and then we get the unit price. Obviously, if we change this to, say, B4, we get a different value because the unit price of avocados is $1. It's important that whatever you include, that whatever range you identify has at least the same number of columns as you identify here. So if we change this to 2, right, then we get avocado, which is not what we want. We really wanted to have the unit price. Now we can of course change it to, okay, let's set it back to 3. The other thing is that you need to make sure that the array is large enough, because if we make this F, then we get a reference number, because in the array that we specified, there is no column 3. We could of course put it to Z and then we're okay again, but this is a waste of resources. So let's use this technique to calculate the total cost of each order. So what we're going to do is we're going to take whatever is stored in a C3, and then we do our VLOOKUP. Let me type this right. In P1 over this array, and then we calculate return whatever's in column 3, and we want a exact match. So now we have the price, the total for the first order. Now, if we copy it down like this, then things start going wrong later on, because look here, you see that this the E15 originally it was E14 to G17, now becomes E15 to G18. So what we need to do, obviously, is make the references in here absolute. So that when we drag the formula down, we keep looking at the same table here. And now the last thing we need to do, obviously, is to reformat this, because we want to make sure that it is formatted correctly as a currency column. Okay, and this completes the exercise. There will be more examples of VLOOKUP functions in the mini case.